Okay, I'm going to talk about making soil today. I've been interested in soil making for quite a while because when people want to garden, they generally either know they need good soil but can't afford it, or they just don't know how to amend it and make it better and usable for a garden. So we do a lot of gardening here at Graceful Living. We have numerous beds and they are constantly needing to be replenished at the change of seasons, after we take plants out. So I'm going to kind of show you the method that I'm using, and I'd love feedback as to ways I can improve. So I'm kind of roughly going by Jeff Lawton's 18-day soil making method, and I have found though that I can't get around to turning it every couple of days. So if I turn it two or three times throughout the process, then I feel like it's successful. And it takes way more than 18 days because I don't turn it. So I'm kind of roughly going by a ratio of 20 to 1. So 20 parts of carbon to one part nitrogen. So here are the ingredients, and I've actually pretty much decimated my wood pile, because my chip pile, we got this from the city of Chattanooga, and I've kind of filtered out the bigger sticks to use in our little fireplace thing outside. So, but you can see here's the wood chips that I'm still kind of using to finish up the pile. And we have another pile I'm going to go to after that. Over here, I have lime to make it more alkaline. Grass clippings as an inoculant. This right here is horse manure mixed with some hay that we got from somewhere out in McDonald, Tennessee. This is leaves from our yard last fall that we've kept around and allowed to compost for a while. This is just a bag of cow manure that I got from like Lowe's or Home Depot. The reason I have that is generally the more varied your manures are, the more healthy your soil is going to be, because it's going to add different nutrients. Ideally, I would also have some duck or chicken manure, but I haven't found a good source yet. So I'm sure I could buy it somewhere, but kind of hoping somebody will just let me have it. This is pretty much an almost free method of soil making. I mean, you do have, transportation costs, and you do need a truck to gather these materials, some of them like the manure and the wood chips, but for the most part it's pretty much free except for what you buy. Okay, and then the last ingredient that I'm using is food scraps from our food compost. This is obviously another source of nitrogen, but also mixed with carbon. So what I'm doing is basically I'm using, for the bigger things, I'm using a shovel of each. So I'm doing 10 shovels of the wood chips, and then I'm putting them right here. And then I throw on a fistful of the lime, kind of a small fistful of the grass clippings that acts as an inoculant with different bugs, because there's a lot of bugs in grass clippings, and I just got this from when we mowed. We had plenty of it, so I kind of gathered it then. So then I do a shovel full of the horse manure, and I just do a little pot full of the cow manure, which means the ratio might be a little more towards a little more nitrogen than I want, except that I think if you don't cover it, some leaks out before it is ready to use in your garden. So I figure that's going to be okay if I do a little more nitrogen than 20 to 1. Then I do like a two-handed grab of the leaves and about two hands together of the food compost. So I layer those here, and then I also end that with another fistful of lime, and then I do 10 more shovels of the wood chips. So that's 10 and 10, that's 20 shovels of wood chips. Now the leaves and the grass also add some carbon, but I just actually some people believe that the ratio should be more like 30 to 1, but I think that's more like what a forest is a 31 ratio carbon to nitrogen. So I'm doing more like a 20 to 1 or slightly over 20 to 1. But like I said, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. This right here is manure that we've had for a while from the same source, and we're kind of using it to kind of boost our vegetables. We used it a while back before I mulched, or right before I mulched. So that is actually just sitting here. I'm actually not using it today. So anyway, you make sure that your pile is wet. You also want to make sure that it's at least 3 foot by 3 foot, because it needs to be a certain size, large enough to actually generate heat, because you want your pile to heat up in the core to about 150. And what that does is it kills pathogens, and it helps the things to break down and compost and become soil. So you can increase the temperature by covering it with a tarp. That also protects it from excess rain that would leach out your nutrients, but you again want to keep it somewhat wet so that it'll aid the decomposition process, which I have to admit I've not been very good about that, because this pile over here I did maybe a couple weeks ago and I've pretty much neglected it, but it's been raining, need to cover it up. But that pile there doesn't have the food scrap compost and it doesn't have lime, so I'll probably add those things when I rotate it. So that's another thing, you can kind of add things as you have them, but if it's something that needs to be broken down, it needs to go in early on the process, or you'll have some parts of it that are broken down and some that aren't, that you're waiting on. So anyway, when it's fine and everything is unidentifiable, which I expect to be a few months, hopefully for the fall gardens, that's when it's ready. So I hope this has helped, and if you know more about soil building than I do, please feel free to comment. I would love to know more about it, and I want to become an expert, because our soil health is extremely important in gardening. If you have healthy soil, you have less diseased plants, and that's kind of important to productivity. So I appreciate tips and comments. So thanks for watching.